Good morning, everyone. If you're currently replacing cabin air filters without cleaning the case, you're really doing your customers a disservice. This is the reason we're seeing so many clogged evaporator drains these days.
Well, if you've ever wondered what 23-year-old interior evaporator coils look like that have never been cleaned, there's your answer.
If there are musty odors in your vehicle, you know there must be mildew, mold, fungi, or other bacteria growing somewhere. And it will
There are three main ways to install a cabin air filter and clean the case. We're going to go over those real quick, and I'll explain the pros and cons and how I did it. It's important for you to take time and walk around the vehicle with the customer. If you have to schedule accordingly to do that, then I would. When you do walk out to the vehicle with the customer, point out things that you see. If the cow's full of leaves, let them know that you're going to clean that out today and take a look at the cabin air filter. If it's all clogged up and dirty, we're going to recommend replacing it. This way, when you call them, they don't feel like it's another upsell for some service they don't know about. They're expecting to get a phone call or a picture showing them how dirty the cabin air filter really is. When doing a courtesy check, I used to pull out every cabin air filter. We'd blow out the cowls of every car, and we'd also pull out the cabin air filter to show them how dirty it really was. I know some people have had bad experiences where customers will ask, how are you charging me labor to reinstall the cabin air filter if you took it out free during the courtesy check? I never really offered just cabin air filters. I offered a cabin air filter service that included cleaning out the evaporator and the heater core. That way they saw the value in the service that I was offering. The one thing I loved about selling cabin air filter services is that it's something the customer can drive away from your shop and notice a difference in their car. It's really a big deal that you can sell a service, just like a fuel induction service, that they actually noticed you performed something on their vehicle. When I was doing this for a living, I did not ever recommend a cabin air filter without some kind of cleaning service. One, it made them notice that we actually replaced something on their vehicle and they could smell that the car was all of a sudden a lot fresher. Two, it was one of the easiest things you could ever sell because people could notice the difference. And three, if you use the right product, I never really had a problem with any customers saying they didn't like the smell. When replacing cabin air filters, I'd recommend that you go by Book Time, ALLDATA or Mitchell or whatever it is that you use. However, as someone who was a tech and a service manager, anything you can do to make their lives easier is a better chance they're going to sell the service to the customer. So I sat down with all my technicians and we decided that half an hour would be good as a base for cabin air filter replacements. This saved them a lot of time of looking up the hours it would take to replace them because most of them are 0.4, 0.6, or 0.7. We decided that if you needed more time for the cabin air filter, to make a note on the courtesy check about that. Your technicians work on 50 to 100 of the same models almost all the time. They're going to know which ones are the easy ones and which ones are the hard ones. In my experience, the ones that were 0.7, the techs didn't even take time to make a note because they knew there was ones that were super easy and it would eventually kind of all balance itself out. Now, it's important for you to tell your technicians that if you need more time, let us know and we'll sell it with more time. Because if you don't, they're not going to sell the more difficult cabin air services. Option one is just replacing the cabin air filter. I never did this. I never had a problem selling it the other way, and people actually noticed and enjoyed getting their cabin air filter replaced because it made the car smell better. When you do the deodorization services that you just spray in through the cowl, go ahead and charge another 0.2 to do this. One, it pays the technician to do it right. If not, you're going to get a quick spray and that's all they're going to do. Secondly, it needs to be more than just replacing a cabin air filter. If someone down the street's going to replace it for 0.5, we should be charging 0.7 or 0.8 to do the deodorization service with that. Option two is replacing the cabin air filter and also deodorizing and sanitizing the case. Step one, go in and remove all the debris from the cowl if you haven't already done so. Second, remove the cabin air filter from the system, take the cabin air filter out, put the cradle back in, or put the cover back on. So now we have a sealed case without a cabin air filter in it. Next, go ahead and start the car, turn the AC to full, as far as the fan speed goes. Then go ahead and turn it to the middle temperature and turn the vents on to where they're pointing in your eyes. This one. Then go ahead and get your deodorization spray and spray it into the cowl opening where the air goes into the system. You should be able to see the spray getting sucked in or pulled in to the cabin air system. Do this for about 45 seconds to 60 seconds, then shut the car off and let it sit. What it'll do is that chemical will go ahead and start cleaning the interior and get rid of all the smells in the car. Then when you're done with the vehicle, when the customer gets in the car, it'll smell fresh and clean. When I used to sell these services, I would charge 0.5 for the cabin air filter and then an additional 0.2 to 0.3 to do the deodorization service. You need to make sure you're paying your technicians to do this. If not, they're going to just do a really quick spray and they're not going to do it properly. Option 3 is to clean the case with foam. For me, I only use this when a customer came in specifically asking to get rid of the odor in the dash, or I noticed that it was really, really dirty. Few warnings on these real quick. One, if you are going to be going in through the evaporator drain, you need to make sure that it's not clogged. If so, you're going to fill the case with foam and not be able to get the foam back out of the car. Some of these services recommend that you drill a hole in the top of the case from the engine side, and they'll supply you with a little rubber grommet to stick in there afterwards. But this way you get kind of a top-down cleaning service. Now, you could also do this from the opening for the cabin air filter too. As long as the case gets filled with foam and can clean it, that's all that really matters. I would recommend that you read the instructions on the can that you bought. They're all really different, and depending on which service you're doing, some want you to have the fan blowing the foam into the evaporator, some don't. It really just depends on the manufacturer. Again, this is a great service. I used to charge 1 hour to 1.2 for this service. It really does an amazing job of cleaning out the system. However, I thought it was overkill if we're going to go ahead and be cleaning the system every, 15 to 20,000 miles anyway, but that's up to you as a shop owner to make a decision. Now, the product. Personally, I used to use BG Frigifresh. Out of the thousands and thousands of cars that we did with this, I never got a complaint. One, it doesn't have a strong scent. It's not orange, it's not lemon, it's just like a Febreze scent, and I think it works really, really well. It's pretty strong. I never had a problem with this. I know Worth makes a product. There's a lot of products out there. Some people on YouTube will suggest using Lysol. It's entirely up to you. I know that this product is specifically made for this, and I was always very, very happy with it. However, find out what works for you. Do some research, ask for a test can, and figure out what you guys like. It's entirely up to you. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any comments, please post them below. If you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up. Thank you so much.